Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway, George Hathaway here. And I know, sorry for the late episode coming out midweek, but you know, I was in Phoenix, Arizona for the men's Final Four over the weekend. I mean, what else can I say, right? Honestly though, Arizona, beautiful. I loved it there. I want to actually go back more than just a weekend, and where I'm not in Glendale at State Farm Stadium or the Phoenix Convention Center. I'd rather go for I want to go hiking. I want to see the mountains. I want to go to the Grand Canyon. It looks like just a really nice place. Downtown's really nice. So it was just overall a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's why for me I was enjoying it though. But we're back for a new episode, and there's a lot to talk about, right? Back-to-back champions. The UConn Huskies do it once again for the first time since 2006-2007. A men's college team goes back-to-back. And let me be honest, this is probably the greatest team in UConn history, let alone, I think, honestly, this could be the greatest team in college basketball history. You look at the point differential for their opponents, plus 141, right? This is just unreal. We've never seen a team dominate so well. And UConn played the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ranked offense in KenPom, right? They just absolutely blew everybody out of the water. It wasn't even everyone's going to say UConn had an easy path, but the East region was probably one of the hardest regions in the tournament, I believe. Just because you look at it, so the teams they played, Alabama, Illinois, they played some very good offense teams who play fast-paced, and they're also very good defense. It's just nobody can stop UConn. That's the thing. It's absolutely unreal to kind of be able to witness it and see it all. And to me, this probably is the greatest team I've ever seen. Everyone says undefeated Indiana Hoosiers was a great team, or 1990 UNLV. There's just been a lot of great teams, right? But this team right here, it's complete. It's fully complete. And the dominance was unreal too. Every team they played, it faced no chance. I just think it really is, right? Danny Hurley, unreal. He's probably going down in the Hall of Fame, I believe. 2 championships back to back, right? And to me, you look at the 1991-92 Duke team, 4 starters came back from that team from 91 when they won in 92. And then you look at 2006 to 2007, the Florida Gators, right? 2006, 5 starters returned for the 2007 season for them to go back to back. What happened with UConn this year? They lost their 3 probably best players: Adama Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson Jr., right? And then they come back and they go back to back. Right, it's unreal, right? You have Klingon who comes back. He stays another year. Starts this year. Alex Caravan returned, which is huge. Tristan Newton returned, and by the way, Tristan Newton's a top 3 point guard in UConn history. There's no doubt about it. If you look at his resume, now I'm just gonna name off a few of his accolades. Like I said, a few of his accolades. 2-time national champion, Bob Cousy Award winner for best point guard in the nation, 2024 Final Four most outstanding player, 23-24 consensus All-American, 23-24 All Big East first team. He also was the Big East tournament MVP, 4 career triple-doubles, most in UConn history, averages 12 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and oh, by the way, he did all that in 2 years at UConn. Top 3 point guard of all time. I think it goes Kemba, Shabazz, Tristan Newton. You could even say he's number 2. And then yesterday when the team returned on Tuesday, they put him in the Husky honor. They have his number hung up in Gamble Pavilion, forever enshrined. The best point guard in the nation. The best, like I said, I think he's top 2. Could make it top 3. Could make an argument for top 2 UConn point guard of all time. No doubt about it. And he did this all in 2 years, which is unbelievable, right? This is a guy who played at East Carolina, who dominated UConn when they played in the American Conference. And here we are 2 years later. Two-time national champion. Come on, right? Like, that's just unreal to me. And just to be able to witness it all, right? It's crazy. And then you have the addition of Cam Spencer, who is by far one of my favorite players on this UConn team. He really is. I have his jersey. I didn't take it off all weekend. And, yeah, it was unreal. Unbelievable. One of my favorite players. He really is. I think what I've been able to watch him do and see, it's you see somebody who's matching Danny Hurley's energy, right? It's unbelievable. This is somebody who wants it more than anybody, was Cam Spencer. He wanted to win a national championship, right? From going to Loyola, Maryland, to Rutgers for a few years, and then to UConn for his last year and winning a national championship. Yeah. I love it. I really do. And honestly, the national championship game was great. It was fun. I think, Zach Edey, he's a problem. He really is. And, I was saying this. I was like, Zach Edey could have had 60. He could have. But he was never going to win the game by himself, right? It's just like, that's just the nature of it. UConn knew what they needed to do. They knew they couldn't contain the National Player of the Year in Zach Edey. They couldn't stop him. Nobody really can, right? And UConn knew that they had to eliminate everybody else on Purdue. They had to shut them down. This is a team that made 1 3-pointer and shot 7. A team that shoots predominantly well from beyond the arc. But UConn knew that they had to pick a battle. Was stopping Zach Edey or stopping everybody else and kind of containing him. And they picked the right choice, which is you let Edey go off, whatever. But if he can't do it by himself, so if you're going to stop everybody else, because honestly, UConn had the better guards. I love Donovan Kling, I really do. I mean, granted, Zach Edey's National Player of the Year. So they weren't going to... Purdue clearly had the better big man in Zach Edey. But Klingon held up his own, and so did Samson Johnson. Alex Caravan was guarding him for a little bit, right? 6'8" against 7'4" for a little bit, And to me, it was like, okay, let Edey go off. But our point guards are a lot better. Our defense from our guards are a lot better. Stephon Castle, unreal. Freshman, Big East Freshman of the Year. Top 10 pick in the NBA draft this year. So I think, with all that, UConn did well. Let Zach Edey have his 30 points, 15 rebounds, whatever, right? That's fine. That's A-okay. Because who won at the end of the day? And honestly, though, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie for UConn, because when I was there, at State Farm Stadium, I would say 75%, if not 80%, were all Purdue fans. And I would say 20 to 25 was UConn fans. Maybe I'd even say 20% was UConn, and then you have your 5%, which is I'm just kind of here to watch the game type deal, right? So that was pretty cool. I mean, never once did I ever feel that UConn was going to be outmanned, when it comes to their fan base. And what happens, right? UConn, they travel well. They travel far. Stores south, stores north. Couldn't make it to stores west, but that's okay, right? But to me, from Connecticut to Arizona is pretty far. So I could see why a lot of people didn't travel. However, the fans that did show up were loud. They really were. Samson Johnson, he fouled out, and the place erupted. And UConn fans were applauding him. Why? Because he played great defense on Zach Edey. It just happens. But, no, for once, but I mean, every Purdue fan came up to me, oh, how does it feel not to have a lot of fans here? You're the first UConn fan I saw. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, that's fine. It is what it is. I wasn't talking trash until, we had a comfortable lead. I was nervous because it was anybody's game, But Purdue fans, very classy, I would have to say. The ones who I've talked to, Very classy. One of them just shook my hand after the game, like, hey, great game. We'll see you next year. I was like, yeah, no, of course, but all right, buddy. To be honest, Purdue's not going to see a national championship for probably for another 44 years, to be honest. You could see UConn back there next year, but not Purdue. But yeah, no, very classy though. Very classy fans. I, talked to them. They heckle me a little bit. Whatever. It's like, okay. Just moved on. I was like, yeah. We're used to this at this point. This is our sixth, national championship that UConn has won. So I don't care, right? But yeah, no, the fans were loud. I think it was like a few minutes left. You just saw the sea of black and gold leaving. It was just unreal. It really was. Hey, that's just the nature of the game, though, right? I was hoping for a close game. I really was. Close enough to the point where I could be comfortable. My heart rate would be okay. But UConn just dominated second half. And there's actually some people sitting behind me from Nebraska. They were just rooting for Purdue, Big Ten. Big Ten guys. So, they were hoping for a close game. I was too. I was hoping for a good one. But UConn's just dominant. They're a second half team this year. That's what it was. 6 national championships in 25 years. That's the same amount of UNC and Duke have in that time span. 6. The 2 big blue bloods from North Carolina, Duke and UNC, have a combined of 6 national championships in the last 25 years, where UConn has 6 by themselves. Who's the real blue blood now? Right? Basketball capital of the world for a reason. That's for sure, right? It's proven. Kentucky's fallen off the face of the earth. 1 national championship in that time span, right? Shabazz Napier, game winner against them, right? UConn's a true blue blood. It's a fact. There's just no going around it. Like, you look at who's dominating college basketball. It's UConn. And John Calipari officially leaving Kentucky, possibly to take the Arkansas job. Kentucky, falling off now. A bunch of their players are hitting the portal, with Calipari gone. I said it on the show a few weeks back. I'm not a fan of John Calipari. I don't think that he did a good job at Kentucky. He's a great coach. But he did all this recruiting, but for what? 1 national championship? It's not worth it. Not worth all that, right? Where you can develop guys. You're not looking for one and dones. It's not the nature of college basketball nowadays. It's not. You develop guys. You bring them on. You mold them. You change them. You I don't know. You win. That's how you win, right? That's how UConn did it. But yeah, no, with Calipari leaving, everyone's saying Dan Hurley's going to take the job. No, he's not. No, he's not. Why? Because he said it. He said his wife would never want to leave Connecticut. She wouldn't. She wants to live where there's water. There's no water in Kentucky. And yeah, Kentucky could offer Danny Hurley like $1 gazillion if they wanted to. But what's that going to do? Right? He's built this program up from 2018 to now, last 5 years. Last 6 years. He's built this program up to win 2 national championships. I don't think he's leaving. He said himself he doesn't want to. But who knows, right? The coaching carousel is going to be crazy this offseason. It really is. And then the portal, too. About 1,500 players have hit the portal. That's a lot. That's a lot. Changing the game of basketball. But look how that's helped UConn. Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, Joey Calcaterra, right? A lot of these guys, transfers coming in, hitting the portal, and have success. It's amazing, but unbelievable what we've seen. This is a great... nobody was a big fan of this tournament because of the blowouts, not a lot of upsets. But I loved it. I mean, UConn won, right? That's all that matters. But it was dominating. It was dominating performance from UConn. The games that you thought were going to be close weren't. It is what it is. Unbelievable, though. Really, it truly is one of the greatest 2-year stretches I've ever seen. And this UConn team, 2023, 2024, one of the best teams I've ever seen. It really is. I mean, I don't think you can find a team that's more complete and more dominating than this UConn team. You really can. 1990 UNLV is close, but I don't know. Like it'll be kind of cool to kind of see like if we could take that 1990 UNLV team, place it up against this UConn team, see what would happen. Who knows though? Right? I mean, who knows about next year? Danny Hurley wants a three-peat. He said it himself that he wants to kind of do it. He wants to go back to back to back. They can do it. It's going to depend, honestly, if Klingon stays, Stefan Castle. So you're going to lose Tristan Newton. You're going to lose Cam Spencer. You have some guys off the bench like Andrew Hurley's going to leave as well. But then that makes you wonder, Donovan Klingon, a lottery pick. So is Stefan Castle. Are you going to lose those two guys? And then you have Samson Johnson starting in that 5 role. It'll be interesting. And then you have to hit the portal, right? You have to get 1 or 2 guys off the portal to kind of replace Cam and Tristan, which will be hard to fill in those shoes. But you have to, somehow kind of develop that. You're getting some good freshmen coming in as well. Team could go 3-peat. You never know. You never know, right? Who would have thought that we would see a team go back-to-back again, right? But yeah, no. It's been a great college basketball season. And it kind of go away from that for a little bit. Rajon Rondo, he retired from the NBA. Honestly, one of my favorite basketball players. Reason why I wear number 9 in basketball is because of Rajon Rondo. He was just one of my favorite players growing up on that Celtics team, and he was just crafty with the basketball. He really is. Hall of Famer. I mean, truly is. Won a championship with the Celtics and Lakers. Never happens, right? With some of the two of the greatest programs in the NBA history. So yeah, like I said, Rajon Rondo, really one of my favorite players to ever play. He was just crafty with the ball. And he was a wizard with it. He really was. And just the fake behind the back layups. Oh, I tried to replicate that in the driveway so many times. He had an influence on me. So that's why Rajon Rondo really is one of my favorite players. A reason why I wore number 9. So hats off to Rajon Rondo for a great NBA career. Some amazing highlights he has. He really does. But yeah. And then you have the women's, Final Four. Oh, that was fun to watch. That really was. I was stressing for Iowa and UConn. Paige versus Caitlin. It's two of the staples of women's college basketball of this time, right? I was hoping, that was a moving screen. I don't know. That was not a moving screen in my opinion, but you can't dictate at the end of the game. Who knows if Paige took that shot? What was going to happen? Who knew? But luckily, we get Paige for 1 more year at UConn, so we'll have to see about that. But Caitlin Clark, unbelievable career that she's had. Really, unbelievable. She's transcended women's college basketball and women's basketball in general to that next level. Her, Paige, Angel Reese, this class has certainly elevated women's basketball. It has. And it's unbelievable to watch. And they had 18 million viewers in the national championship game between South Carolina and Iowa. More than the men's, who had 14 million. But that's okay. That's totally fine. It's not a competition. It's not okay, let's see who's better. No, because that game is certainly a lot more interesting, right? But they also put it on a primetime network on that ABC, ESPN, versus a TBS, TNT versus, for the men's college basketball. But like I said, women's basketball is just skyrocketing right now, and that's with the addition of making it interesting with Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese. This class certainly going to go down as I wouldn't say setting the. I think they're setting the the pavement, the groundwork for the future of women's basketball. I think that's for sure. But yes, Paige again back at UConn one more year. I mean, this have to win it with Paige, right? If you're UConn, you have to. I was hoping to see, the dual championships again. Kind of ruin the streak, 04, 14, 2024, but that's all right. UConn, Storrs, Connecticut, basketball capital of the world. It's been a fun season. It really has. Unbelievable. Historic, too. But that's going to wrap things up on this week's episode of Halfway with Hathaway. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on the YouTube. And if you're listening wherever you get your podcast, make sure to follow and give us that 5-star rating as well. And I'll see you all next week.